Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the final broadcast of your 2022 ASTA Advocacy Awareness Day session. I am Vanessa McGovern. I do have a friendly co-host, Shannon Cunningham. She is running back from a meeting on literally live on Capitol Hill, and we will look forward to welcoming her on this session where she can tell us all about her time on the Hill. Now, before we go to Shannon, hopefully she'll be joining in soon, and we do have some special guests on the thread. I want to go live to the Hill because we have a group that wants to say hello.
Hello, everyone. Where are we? We're in the Hart office building. Say hi.
Hello from the Senate train.
And this is Kareem and everyone. And our favorite staff member. We had a great meeting with Senator Baldwin's office. We're so grateful to have an awesome staffer with us and the whole team with Kareem and everyone. Anything that came out of the meeting that you want to talk about? It was a good meeting, wasn't it?
Awesome. Great meeting.
So we had great staff support too. So we might lose connection. So I hope that everyone's enjoying their meetings. Have a great day, and we'll see you back at the Hilton. Thanks, everyone.
Oh, that was so awesome. A big thank you to Erica and your crew on the Hill. And there is a fabulous photo of Erica and her group in between meetings earlier today. And then we have another photo up there as well from meetings all day. Again, 47 states were represented today with ASTA members and partners from all over the United States. It's been a phenomenal day. If you were an ASTA member that attended one of your meetings today, or if you were there on the Hill, we are actually looking for more photos just like you see on the screen. So you can go ahead and email ASTA so that we can have your photos featured. This is so fun. Can't you just feel that excitement vibe? I mean, look at Erica in that photo, and that the vibe of all the meetings has just been electric all day. And we're excited to be back on the fan page, sharing the love for everything that's been going on. All right. So I have a little fun little tidbit here before I bring on our next guest. You see the artwork in the photo of that office? Well, we actually have a member of ASTA whose job it was back in the day. She can tell us about that more in detail, who was responsible for putting that art up there. So that's a little fun fact. And that is Cassandra from Premier Wellness Travel. Hello, Cassandra. Welcome. Oh, and we have Shannon now too. We have Cassandra live from the Hilton, and Shannon just joining us in live on the Hill. Cassandra joined our industry not too long ago, has a very diverse experience, very extensive experience with working on Capitol Hill, working in a very similar process to what we're doing here. And we wanted to feature her to come on and talk about her experience with ASTA Ledge Day and what that has meant to her, why she's been getting involved with ASTA right from the beginning of starting her travel business, just to give us a little insight as well. And I know, Shannon, we did not see you at the very beginning. So, of course, I want to just take a moment to be like, hi.
No, I know. Hey, I was coming out of a meeting with Senator John Kennedy for Louisiana. So we met with one of his staff members, had a great meeting. They were very inviting, very open to everything we were asking for, and very, very supportive. So that's what's happening here. It's just blowing and going, and, talking and being heard is so rewarding. It's very rewarding. And they're hearing us. They're hearing the pain that our industry is going through, and they do want to support us, but they don't know unless we go ask, right?
They don't know, right? That's why you're here, is to tell the story. So thank you again, Shannon, for being my co-host and taking meetings. You definitely deserve a nice big tall of something when you come back to the Hilton. Thank you, Shannon.
Thank you.
Such a great group on the live broadcast. If you are watching live, go ahead and let us know where you're living in from. And if you've attended the other sessions, we want to know that as well. If you've donated to ASTA PAC today, you can also make a comment about that as well. Donated, we want to hear from you. So please go ahead and drop a comment in the thread to say hello. Let us know you're watching live. Thank you, Antoinette. I believe you made a comment about this is great. I assuming obviously you mean the Facebook lives throughout the day. I'm glad that you are enjoying them. We're enjoying bringing this content to you. So I want to talk to you, Cassandra. Welcome. Thank you for joining me on the live.
Thank you for doing these all day.
Oh, yes. I deserve a big drink of something too after this is over. So Cassandra, first of all, I don't know if I didn't do a proper introduction of your travel business. First of all, tell our viewers just a cliff notes, a little synopsis of your travel business, name of it, where you're based, and when you started it, and then let's get into why you're supporting ASTA right from the beginning of your business.
Sure. Thank you for having me. My name's Cassandra Marcella Metzger. I am a travel advisor based here in Washington, D.C. I've lived in Washington, D.C. for over 32 years. It's a place that I love because it reminds me of a European city. My business is called Premier Wellness Travel. And I started my business after going through the Travel MBA program, the fantastic program that GTN has, in 2019, and launched my business in January of 2020, just about 6 weeks before the pandemic.
Just in time.
Yeah, so it was an interesting time. I had to build a longer runway and buckle up my seatbelts.
Oh, that's a good analogy.
Yes. I'm still in the business. And I'm here supporting ASTA. I've been a member of ASTA from the beginning because I understand the importance of advocacy. I used to work on Capitol Hill. Vanessa mentioned that way back in the day that I worked on the Legislative Arts Caucus. The Congressional Arts Caucus is what it was called. And we did those photos. Actually, it's artwork from high school students that go in the hallways between the Capitol and the House buildings. One student from each district gets a piece of art up. So I love Advocacy Day because it combines my three loves, which is advocacy. I'm also an attorney from a prior life, and actually knew Jamie Raskin, who was one of the representatives we met with because he was a professor at my law school. The staffer there said that he thinks that he might have more ex-law students than he does constituents in his district in Maryland, which is pretty funny and probably true. But it mixes, my love for advocacy, and I loved, talking about these issues, and they do such a great job here at ASTA briefing us. We had a 2-hour briefing the day before where we learned about what the asks were, what the issues were, maybe some of the questions that might come up. I also love government because I've worked in government, and I love travel. So I'm like very, very happy right now.
And so for the travel advisor watching this that doesn't have the extensive background in politics and law the way you do and doesn't live in DC, why is it important for a travel advisor to come to Ledge Day and just raise their overall awareness on Advocacy Day or on advocacy in general?
Well, because the federal government can really do a lot to help us and can really make a difference in our business and in our lives. One of the things we talked about was the importance of consistency and messaging from the federal government. With the pandemic, we had many different agencies that were involved in putting restrictions on the travel industry, for example, and that affects consumer demand and trust, and they don't, it creates confusion. If people are confused, they decide not to go anywhere. So they have the power to help us fix that and to create consistency. That's one of the things that we asked about, was for a specific act that would help with that and actually create a higher level position and a consolidated appointment for an assistant secretary at the Secretary of Commerce to sort of spearhead that and wrangle all the different cats that have their mitts in the travel industry. And it's important because they can really, like I said, they can change our lives and fix things. And a lot of them don't understand how the travel industry works. Number one, that can be delays with the commissions, for example, they
don't understand the nature of our business.
Yeah, they don't understand how it works or why it's important at all. Why people might want to use a travel advisor. We learned yesterday that coming out of the pandemic, more and more people are looking for advice and help with planning their trips, which is important. And, we sometimes meet with young people, the legislative correspondents. In my day, back in the late 90s or early 90s, the legislative correspondent would just answer literally old-fashioned mail. Now they correspond with their constituents in lots of ways, not over email, but also meeting with us. And it's easy to think that if you're meeting with some young person that they don't have a lot of power, but they do.
They do. Shannon, is that who you've been meeting?
Yes, absolutely. Yep.
Yeah.
They do have power. They're very excited to hear from us as well. You know, they're listening, they're taking their notes, they are asking questions. They're asking us a lot of questions. And that's something I find different than it was last year. And I don't know if it's the things that I think there's been more awareness brought to the travel industry over the past year. So I definitely see a difference in the questions that we're being asked. And that was I was very impressed and excited about that.
Yeah, they're interested. We got some good questions too.
So tell us a little bit about, from your direct experience, why is donating to political action committees so important? And I know that I'm sure there's somebody listening on the live and that might be thinking, I'm not political. I don't want to I don't want to choose politics. I don't want to donate. That might be a sticky point for somebody, right? Because the nature of political action committee, I've heard that objection before. I'm not going to donate because I'm not political.
Well, these issues are apolitical.
Right. So break that down for us. And then tell us, in your experience, how these donations to ASTA PAC that we are asking everybody in the industry to make a donation today on behalf of Advocacy Awareness, what is it doing from your perspective? I mean, we're hearing about it, we know, but I mean, you're a frontline advisor, just like a lot of members that are listening in. Like, speak to our members, like speak to the ASTA members listening in right now. What are the PAC dollars doing? Like, what do they do generally?
Well, they help us get our message out to the people who can make a difference, the people on the Hill. You give a donation and you show that you support, and that's important. If they don't have a lot of support, and that's why even the amount doesn't matter, because the number of supporters that they have shows that that the industry really matters, that the industry is very engaged, that the industry understands the importance of legislation, and they understand the power of what Congress can do and why these issues matter. So that even if it's not a big donation, the number of donations matters, because we can take that information and show that this is an industry that's really engaged, that understands the power of our federal government and what they can do to help us, or how inaction doesn't help us. It's called an action committee. We want them to act, because we've learned through the pandemic that inaction really has crippled us in some ways and confused the messaging. And so, we have some very specific asks for these days, and they're different years. Last year, they changed something within days, right?
Yes.
Of our day. That's how powerful this day was.
Exemption on the Jones Act for Alaska cruising.
Yeah, there was a big sort of weird catch-22, and literally within 2 days or something, that's
so exciting.
It got changed and got happened. And so the donations help support this work. And these 2 days that we do annually in DC, and can really, really make a difference.
Look at that. Thank you, BJ Lewis. I just joined for the first time and made a donation. That's what I'm talking about.
Yes.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Big round of applause to you.
I made a donation today too. I'm a regular donor, but I did another one today too.
You are a regular donor. And today, in addition to your regular donation cycle, today, in celebration of ASTA Advocacy Awareness Day, Cassandra, you made a very generous donation of $500.
Yes.
Which is extremely well received. And we are grateful for that.
I hope it inspires others.
Yes. And if you can't do 500 or 250 or 100 or even 50, we are asking for a minimum of $25. And even Vicky Freed gave every single travel advisor that took advantage of the free cruise from Royal Caribbean last year. She is challenging everybody that joined ASTA and got a free cruise to make a minimum donation of even $5. Vicky wants to see those $5 come in to know that she's giving these free cruises away and that it's being reciprocated back to ASTA from travel advisors. So I think it's just the gesture at this point that matters the most. So even if it's just $5, I vote for $25. And if you can do a little bit more, It's going to an amazing cause to support the industry that we all love. We work in the greatest industry in the world. And so, Cassandra, I want to thank you for your commitment.
Sure.
I want to thank you for joining our industry, bringing your amazing talent to our industry and helping our voices get heard.
You know, I used to work at PBS too. This reminds me of Pledge Week on PBS.
Yeah, Pledge Week. Right? We're gonna do a
Yes.
Pledge Week.
Thank you, Cassandra.
And again, at any amount, because the number of the donations
The
matters.
number
too.
of donations
Okay.
matters. Thank you,
Thank
Cassandra.
you for having me.
Thank you so
luck.
much.
Thanks.
All right, we are going to keep things rolling. Shannon, any updates from you before we bring on our next guest?
No updates, but I wanted to kind of add to what we were talking about, because I was one of those people who didn't, I knew ASTA was around. One of the reasons I was intimidated by it, I was intimidated by ASTA was because I thought it was political. And here I am today sitting on Capitol Hill for the third ASTA Advocacy Awareness Day that you and I host. And there is no intimidation. It is all bipartisan. It is all about having your voice heard. And once I realized that, and I realized that my voice and my dollars matter, I wanted to follow where my dollars were going. And I wanted to make sure that they were hearing from me and that the ASTA staff had my support in person. And it really does make a difference. And I just want to share that with everyone who's kind of on the fence about donating, about coming to ASTA Ledge Day next year, about joining ASTA. Do it. Press those buttons, donate, join, and join me here again next year. It will make you feel good, and it will make you feel like you are heard and proud, even more proud to be in the travel industry.
Shannon, those were beautiful words, and I am so proud to be able to co-host this day with you. Thank you for sharing everything that you're saying. And speaking of standing proud and supporting ASTA staff, I'd like to bring on a member of ASTA staff, one of the newest members of ASTA staff, as our final guest of Advocacy Awareness Day. Look who I have. Look who came to join the party, Shannon.
I've
Hello,
seen
hello.
him. I've seen him around.
Yes, we've got Alvin in the house. Even
Hey,
Alvin,
Alvin.
Adriano, how many weeks, how long now has it been that you are officially on the ASTA team?
Weeks. It's been about 9 weeks. I've been a part of ASTA. I'm now the director of industry affairs. They're pulling out the curtains and seeing a different perspective of the industry. And I'm really glad. I love this industry so much, but being able to help all my friends, all my colleagues, family, people who I've been associated over these years, I'm really grateful and blessed to have this opportunity to represent all of you.
It's such an amazing story, and your journey is so inspiring, Alvin. I love seeing you in this role, standing tall and proud for industry affairs with ASTA. It's just so amazing. And you were most recently on the member side of
Yep.
ASTA, so you bring such a unique perspective generally, and I want to talk about that perspective today specifically as it relates to Ledge Day, because you've known about the advocacy work that ASTA's been doing on your behalf, and now you're working for the trade association. Is there anything that you've learned through that, or any ahas that you've had, or maybe something just been amplified in learning about advocacy now that you're working for ASTA?
Yeah, I think it's really important for all individuals to understand the true meaning of freedom is being able to sacrifice a little and to advocate for ideals that may not belong to you. But as a community, we start understanding that this is what it's like to be in the United States, to be able to have the power of influence, to talk to our congressmen or elected officials and bring up issues that are important to us. A lot of younger professionals may not think advocacy is important, but it helps build responsible society. It builds raise awarenesses for our industry and what we are able to do. And it connects us to our lawmakers to show them who we are and what we represent. So I think for all of us, it's important that we do these type of advocacy so that we can understand really what our industry is capable of. And we talked really in depth about how much travel and tourism makes up of our economy. It makes up 10% of the national GDP. And people don't realize that. And it's our responsibility to educate these lawmakers so they understand what is important to us.
I would even go as far as saying it is our duty.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I said in my personal post. As an ASTA member, it's my duty to support the PAC. And it's just a matter of how much I can donate in any given year or any given month or associated with any given event. I made a personal donation myself today in honor of ASTA Advocacy Awareness Day. And I'm sure at some point later this year, I'll do that as well. And it really is our duty as an industry to support our trade association that is advocating for us on our behalf. So today is just one of like every single day of the year. Today just happens to be the day that ASTA brings in members to go and advocate, it's the political, term, and on the Hill is like the fly-in, right? That's kind of the term that you hear across industry is when they have their fly-ins, and that's usually a day or two. But ASTA is doing this every day, right? They have a team. How many people know on that team?
We have about 23.
Well, that's total. The advocacy team, right?
3.
We have 3,
Yep.
right? Led by Evan Peck.
Yep.
And then we have Jesse Clement.
Yep. And Lou Altabello.
So they're a powerhouse team of
Yes.
3, and they're literally doing this type of work every single day. That's their entire role at ASTA. So that's pretty amazing. So speaking, well, first of all, if you are watching and you know Alvin, I know I see Marie Smith giving you a big
He's got
shout
a lot
out.
of fans.
He does have a lot of fans. Go ahead and drop a comment to say hello to Alvin. If you don't know Alvin, even just give him a warm welcome to the ASTA team. We're so happy to have Alvin on this live, and so happy to see Alvin representing our industry, being in the position that he's taken now at ASTA. So let's just talk a little bit as we're getting to the bottom of the hour. Let's just talk a little bit about, bottom of the, not hour. I can't even talk anymore. See, I'm going to need that to get me straight.
We're not
Let's
done
talk
today.
a little bit about ASTA broadly. What's coming up? Let's talk a little bit about what's coming up. And then I would love for you to share about a project that I know you're particularly passionate about with about that.
Yep.
So let's talk about ASTA. What's coming up?
Well, ASTA, we've gone through this pandemic. It's been 2 years, and we've really been accelerated in the fact that we've innovated in so many different ways. We know that it's a data-driven economy, and that communication is essential for us to be able to reach out and connect with our clients, consumers, our lawmakers. And because of this, we've invested a lot in making sure that our strategies help educate the consumers, help educate all of our elected officials, and allows us visibility and gives credibility to what we're doing. A lot of people haven't realized how important the roles that we play, but we know travel is something that has not stopped. It hasn't stopped any person from traveling. It is one of the most sought out expenses that people like to do across the board. Humans by far are social animals, and what we need is to connect. And by doing this, we are creating these initiatives that will help us be more visible to the public. But also, too, we're in the works of generating our YPS, our Young Professional Society. We know that the millennials will be taking over by 2030. 75% of the workforce are going to be millennials. And so we're trying to create education, programming, and content that will help fast forward our industry to get to be more technologically advanced, to keep up with other industries like finance, technology, banking, and healthcare. So we're really excited for all of these initiatives because, again, we believe that this is going to be the future of the travel industry and travel advisors.
Thank you for sharing all of that. And then practically speaking, what's coming up next is ASTA Global Convention, as you see on the screen. Thank you for pulling that up. If you are not registered for AGC, ASTA Global Convention, you can go and do that at asta.org. You can register for AGC there. And if you are a premium member, you have your premium summit also coming up in October. I know that River Cruise Expo is coming back to Budapest, and that'll happen in March of 2023. I believe registration is going to open for that shortly. We had registration open for those that had attended 2022, and then it closed, and then now it's going to reopen again. So you need to be like on the ready with your credit card for River Cruise Expo because it's going to sell out because it's the hottest ticket in town. So I say we as if I work at ASTA. I feel like I do today.
You're only on the board. You're only on the board of directors.
Say that again.
I said you're only on the board of directors. That doesn't matter.
Well, okay. I'm on the board, so I guess I can say
You can say we.
ASTA has so much to offer travel advisors. And so if you are a member, which I'm assuming every single person that has been watching the lives is a member. In fact, let's go do a quick roll call. Let's do a roll call for everybody watching. And even if you're on the replay, go ahead and put that in the comments. If you're an ASTA member, I want you to say proud ASTA member. Proud ASTA member. Go ahead and say proud ASTA member in the comments. Let's see a quick roll call for those of you that are watching on the live. If you're an ASTA member, you can take advantage of all of these amazing events going on. If you're not an ASTA member, of course, your number one priority right now is to become an ASTA member. When you're an ASTA member, you get access to so many resources. Fun fact, including healthcare. Wonder if anybody knew about that, but that's a whole other Facebook Live. And there's lots of other resources for you in your member portal. What do you think? What do you think is a resource that, like the healthcare option, that ASTA members might not be taking advantage of, or that it's like a kind of a lesser known benefit, would you say?
Well, I mean, during the pandemic, we realized how important community was for the success of the travel advisors, for the success of all the organizations bonding together. And, we talk about advocacy, but the one voice that we have together is networking and connecting with with all of your community as travel advisors, suppliers, airlines. All that's important, because once you realize the community that you have, that all the relationships are symbiotic, you start being part of something. You're not individually by yourself. You're not just a small business. You're part of a growing economy that can show so much. And again, travel and tourism represents 1 out of 10 jobs in the world. So being part of that is so surreal.
And I think the benefit that makes that tangible, what you just said there, it's so beautiful, Alvin, thank you, is that Facebook group that is offered through ASTA. And there's a ton of resources that I know are shared alone. Erica Richter and her team with media training and resources, which can help with advocacy. That's all done through the Facebook group. So
even media opportunities.
In media opportunities. That's right. When you're an ASTA member, you get pitched. You are invited to pitch yourself to media opportunities, and that I feel like that's happening almost weekly at this point. Sometimes several times a week. So many good things about ASTA. And so as we wrap up our final session of our marathon Facebook Lives for 2022 ASTA Advocacy Awareness Day, we do need to make another loud and proud plug for the whole reason why we're doing this today. It's our opportunity to fundraise and support. This kicks off our grassroots fundraising campaign. So please go to asta.org/donate. If you have a team page, I see GTN members listening in here. You go to that GTN team page. If you're with Nexion, KHM, Oasis, Largay, any of their host agencies, go ahead and donate through your team page. If you're part of a chapter, donate through your chapter page. Consortia, same deal. So there's lots of ways to donate. I think Alvin said it. No, Cassandra said it before when she was on about it's very important that we show the number of donations. So again, we are not asking for you to open up your wallets to a lot. You can just do $5, $10, $25, whatever you're comfortable with in that range. And then, of course, if you feel so inspired, you can, of course, choose to do more if you would like. Yes, you can also text, thank you, Marie, ASTAPAC to 71777. That makes it really easy right now as well. Shannon, any parting words from the Hill?
It's been so fun. It's been a great experience to do this live from the Hill and just to see how the advocacy works and how it is in action, and seeing the ASTA staff in action, the ASTA members in action. It really, really makes me feel good about my donations and about our members' donations. It's a good cause. Your money is put to good use. So continue with those donations. It's an honor to be here and, representing travel advisors, representing the travel industry everywhere. So it's just been an exciting day.
Shannon, you rocked it on the Hill today. Thank you. And you've never been, you had to scope it out. You figure it out. You got technology. Amazon shipped to you just in time for this event. So amazing. Yep. I'm so glad.
And I've got one more meeting to go to.
What? You have one more meeting to go to? Well, then we'll be waiting for you to toast.
Then have my drink. First, I'll need a shower, then a drink, because it has been hot.
It's been so hot. Alvin, any parting words from you on behalf of ASTA?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, we've gone through so much, but with optimism turns into action. This is what becomes of advocacy, and advocacy is what we need to be successful. You know, the small amount of money that we're asking for, it's a sacrifice, Netflix, coffee, or something like that. But this can change our entire industry. You know, those $25, that little bit of money will make a big difference. And we talked about numbers. Please donate. Please make that effort and donate to our trade associations so that we can help push this industry forward.
Alvin, that was beautifully said. I love what you said about, I'm anchored in on the following. You said, advocacy is what makes us successful. And I think that's a great way to end it. It has been an absolute pleasure and privilege to be able to co-host ASTA's Advocacy Awareness Day. A big shout out to ASTA for allowing us the opportunity to do this again on their fan page. It's been a lot of fun, extremely meaningful. I hope you all got a lot out of today. We'd love for you to share a takeaway in the thread as well. And please reach out to ASTA as well to share your thoughts. If you were on the Hill watching this, don't forget to email a photo that you would have taken to ASTA as well. And share the good vibes about ASTA to other travel advisors that might not know about the good work that we're doing here on their behalf as well by sharing this video, as well as just the opportunity to become a member. And of course, please donate. The whole reason for today and raising awareness. And Shannon's kicked us off this morning. Hopefully we put the fun in fundraiser. All right, everybody. We are signing off for 2022 ASTA Advocacy Awareness Day. Bye from DC, and we'll see you next year on the